Welcome back to another episode of Open at Microsoft, where this week I have Roberto Perez over from Redis Inc. joining us to talk to us about Azure Cache for Redis, a fully managed caching solution that makes any of your applications faster, simpler, and more robust. Let's just jump right into it. Could you talk to us a bit about, how Redis was founded and what the history of the company was?
Yes. As in 2009, Salvatore Sanfilippo developed Redis. He created it based on a need of tracking real-time page views, right? But he created it with simplicity in mind. And he wanted to capture that to pretty much give it to other developers in the future. And he put those principles in one thing called Redis Manifesto, right? Up to 2020, Salvatore oversaw the project. And in that year, there was a new light governance model that got created where 5 leaders from different companies now oversight the project. And this is because of the simplicity and speed and scalability that our caching solution has become very popular. In fact, we have won 5 years in a row as most loved in-memory database in Stack Overflow.
Right. It's definitely ranked up there amongst the open source community as well. So I was hoping that you can dive a bit more into caching. You mentioned a little bit about caching. Could you talk about what that exactly is?
Yeah. Pretty much, a cache is a high-speed data storage where you can store, a subset of data, normally in a transient way or an ephemeral way, right? You can do this, or you want to do this to reduce the time that you want to go and get the data from your RDBMS.
So then, it's great that you talked about caching and how it speeds up your application. So then what exactly is Azure Cache for Redis? Could you dive a bit about the product itself?
Yes. So Azure Cache for Redis is our solution, our response to that. And it's an in-memory caching solution that works to boost the performance and scalability of any applications you have in any industry.
Right.
So we actually have 2 product offerings, right? You have the basic, standard, and premium tiers. Those are forks of Redis open source. And some of the features that you will find there is, for example, active passage georeplication. You have clustering. You can have network isolation. And now the other tiers are the enterprise and enterprise flash tiers. And these tiers, we have a collaboration between Microsoft and Redis, and we are working to create these tiers, right? And you will use this for the more robust and demanding applications. Some of the features that we'll find there is, for example, up to 5 nines SLA. And actually, we are one of the couple of services in Azure that can get to the 5.9 SLA. You can also find active georeplication. And you have JSON support, so you can store JSON documents, and you have the ability to do secondary indexing on those, increasing your performance, and much more things that you can do there.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a ton being offered throughout the 2 tiers itself. So really glad that you dove deeper into that one. So you also mentioned things like data structures and JSON compatibility with the Redis module itself. So I wanted to talk to you a bit about data structures and compatibility on Azure Cache for Redis. Could you dive a bit more into that as well?
Oh, yes. So compatibility. So we have implemented the Redis protocol on different languages, right? So you can go to there's a website that you can go and you can find your preferred language. And there will be a client for it. So that way you can connect to the Redis database, right? Now, normally developers use Redis as a simple string. That's the most common case where you need to store, let's say, a token, right? Or there's a repetitive string that you need to cache. But Redis inside, in its core, has a list of data structures. So to mention them, right? You have strings, you have lists, you have sets, sorted sets. This is interesting one because pretty much it will store your data already in memory. You don't have your application don't have to sort everything afterwards. You have hashes, bitmaps, hyperlog log, and geospatial. And this is another interesting one where pretty much, let's say that you have a business and you have different sites. You can store the latitude and longitude of your sites, and you can do searches like give me all the sites between a 50-mile radius, and all this in sub-millisecond latency. Now, Redis Enterprise expand this with what we call extended data types called Redis JSON, Redis time series, Redis Bloom, and Redis Search.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you for diving into all the compatibilities. That's what makes Redis and Azure Cache Redis such a developer friendly and really popular amongst the open source community itself. So really, really appreciate you diving deeper into that portion of it. So, you talked a lot about what Redis is, what caching is, what it works with, but I think it's time to get to the more important part. What can you actually use Azure Cache Redis for exactly?
Oh, yeah. Nice question. Pretty much there are a lot or several use cases that you can use. As I mentioned, it's so flexible, and so you can use it in so many industries that there are several use cases. But let's mention some of them. You can use Redis as a distributed cache. Another one is like a session store. Let's say that you are storing your user session, and let's say that you have a shopping cart, right? You want that shopping cart to be fast, and you want to retrieve those session store super fast, right? It can also ensure business continuity if you use active. Let's say your user starts shopping in the East region and it gets in a plane and goes to the West. You don't want that user to have a bad experience when it goes back to the application and try to see his shopping cart and see that there is nothing there. You want to have the active and sync all the data or the session store from the East to the West. That's another use case. You can implement message broker for those clients that are using a microservice architecture and are implementing, for example, Saga pattern. You can use it to communicate between them. It doesn't matter the size of your application. You can also use a cloud migration, pretty much ingesting millions and millions of records very fast. And you can also use it as in artificial intelligence. Why? Or some of the examples there is you can use as vector similarity search that is already part of Redis Enterprise. And you can also use it as an online feature store for pretty much helping your training your ML models.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds like, Redis really hits all the buckets of every industry, making it a super viable solution across the board, especially even tapping into all the buzz about AI currently as well. So that's really, really great that it's multifaceted across everything as well. So I wanted to just thank you again, Roberto, for taking the time to join us at Open at Microsoft and teaching us a lot more about Azure Cache Redis itself. I'm sure we'll be seeing you more in the upcoming episodes focused around Azure Cache Redis even more. And you can find all the links below in the descriptions to learn more and get started with Azure Cache Redis. So thank you again, Roberto, and I hope to see you again next time.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Kadesha, and I'm here to let you know that May is Maintainer Month. At GitHub, we're celebrating maintainers all month long by providing a place to gather, share, and learn together. Come join our month-long events and activities to be a part of the celebration and share your story with other maintainers and join the maintainer community. We have workshops, podcasts, conferences, meetups, and much more planned for you to enjoy all month long. Go to maintainermonth.github.com to see and create your schedule and be a part of the celebration. See you there!